Welcome to the deep dive. If you're buying a house, especially maybe somewhere unfamiliar, like in Mexico, it often feels like you're just handing over all the control,
Oh,
really.
absolutely. That feeling of vulnerability. The contracts look impenetrable, developers make big promises, and you wonder, what happens if something goes wrong? Is there any real protection?
Exactly. And that anxiety is what we're hoping to tackle today.
We're diving deep into a really significant piece of regulation in Mexico. The official standard NOM 247 SE 2021.
NOM 247. Okay.
Yeah, and look, this isn't some minor guideline. It's a powerful federal standard. Its whole purpose is to protect consumers buying residential real estate homes or viviendas and even land, terrenos.
So protection, equity, legal security against potential issues with developers, builders, promoters.
Precisely. It aims to level the playing field.
Okay, so let's unpack who exactly gets regulated here, because it sounds like it casts a pretty wide net.
It really does. It targets anyone commercially providing residential property.
So yeah, your constructors, your promoters, and importantly, the developers segmenting land, the fraccionadores.
So basically, if you're in the business of selling homes or residential land in Mexico, this EMA applies to you.
That's the gist of it. You're under the standards requirements.
And who's the main watchdog making sure everyone complies?
That would primarily be Profeco, the Federal Consumer Protection Agency. Think of them as the enforcement arm.
Profeco. Got it.
They audit the advertising, the sales practices, and crucially, they actually pre-approve the standard contracts. The tratos de adhesion, we'll get into that. It ensures compliance.
Okay, that's a strong foundation. Which brings us to what you said is the first pillar, this mandate for absolute transparency.
Yes, this is fundamental. The standard demands that all information given to you, the buyer, isn't just available, but it has to be verifiable and clear.
Verifiable, that sounds key. No vague promises. Exactly. It needs to be truthful, veraz, is the Spanish term, and provable. And while, marketing might be in English or other languages.
Which happens a lot.
For sure. But the official information, the legally binding stuff, must be in Spanish. And if there's ever a discrepancy between translations.
Let me guess, Spanish wins.
Always. The Spanish text prevails. It cuts down on potential confusion from, let's say, ambiguous marketing translations.
Makes sense. So what kind of essential details must they cough up right away?
Well, first, their own credentials. Provider's name, contact info, proof of legal ownership of the property. You need to know who you're dealing with.
And the property's legal status, like lineans or encumbrances?
Absolutely. Title details, any existing gravamenes encumbrances have to be disclosed. Though it's worth noting, they can typically exclude their own construction loans from this specific disclosure.
Okay. And I assume they also need to show they have the government's blessing for the project itself.
You got it. All the necessary government paperwork, licenses, permits, authorizations, the licencias, permisos, y autorizaciones, for everything from land use, uso de suelo, to the actual construction permits.
That's crucial. What about the specifics of the house itself?
Also mandated. Detailed specs, exact location, measurements, included services and installations, the type of construction system used, and importantly, the finishes, the acabados. What materials were they actually putting in?
Okay, now this is interesting, especially for people buying off-plan, pre-sale or preventa. How does the NOM ensure you know what you're actually buying when it's maybe just a plan on paper?
This is a really strong consumer protection. For pre-sales, the developer must display the complete executive construction project, the proyecto ejecutivo de construcción.
So the full architectural and technical blueprint.
The whole thing.
Okay.
And critically, they also have to display a model, could be a physical maqueta or a detailed virtual one, and keep it available for viewing right up until the property is physically delivered.
Wow, so you get a really clear picture, not just a glossy brochure.
Exactly. It ensures you know exactly what they've committed to building. They can't just vaguely promise luxury finishes. You can see the specs.
That's a significant commitment. What if the property isn't brand new? Maybe it's used or needs work or has been renovated.
Full disclosure is required. If the property is used, has known deficiencies, or has been reconstructed, that has to be stated up front, clearly. In the advertising, the public info, and definitely written into the contract itself.
No hiding a checkered past, then.
None is permitted under the standard. Honesty is mandatory there.
This level of required disclosure flows really nicely into our next big area, the contract itself and the financial safety nets.
Right. This is where Profeco's role becomes really tangible for the buyer. The main legal document is typically the adhesion contract, the contrato de adhesion.
Why adhesion? Because you basically adhere to their terms.
Sort of, yes.
Yeah.
It's prepared unilaterally by the provider. But here's the protection. They must register their model contract with Profeco before using it.
Okay, so what does that registration actually do for me, the buyer?
It's huge. Profeco reviews that can track templates, specifically looking for clauses that could be abusive, unfair, or, put the consumer at a disadvantage. They essentially filter out the bad stuff before it ever gets presented to you.
So it prevents those sneaky clauses that benefit only the developer.
That's the objective. It dramatically reduces the risk of you signing something with hidden traps.
That is a massive layer of protection. And I heard something about font size. Seriously.
It sounds minor, but yes. The contract has to be easily legible. Minimum font size. 3 millimeters, which is about 10 points.
So no need for a magnifying glass to read the fine print?
Yeah, they want to ensure you can actually read what you're signing. Makes sense, right?
Totally. Okay, let's talk money. Deposits, down payments, anticipos, enganches. What rules protect that initial investment?
First, you must get a formal receipt. Always. The contract terms must clearly state how that money is applied towards the final purchase price.
And what about getting it back if things go south?
Crucial point. The contract must spell out the exact terms and conditions for refunds or devolution. This includes any potential penalties if, say, you cancel late beyond the allowed window.
Okay, but here's a big what if for pre-sales. What if I put down my enganche, construction starts, and then the developer decides to change the materials or the design to save money? Am I just stuck?
Absolutely not. And this is a game changer. If the core project design, the Proyecto Ejecutivo, is significantly modified during construction, the provider has to notify you formally. And then the power shifts to you. You must give your express written authorization for the purchase to continue under the new design.
Express written authorization, so if
Right.
we don't like the change...
You don't give consent. And if you withhold that consent, the developer is obligated to refund your advance or down payment. They can't just unilaterally change the deal and force you to accept it.
Wow. That written consent requirement gives the buyer real leverage mid-project.
It really does.
Now, let's say someone signs the contract, feels good, goes home, then wakes up with buyer's remorse. Is there a cooling off period?
Yes, there is. You have an explicit right to cancel the contract within 5 working days after signing it.
5 working days. Okay. Is that really enough time for such a big decision? Might feel a bit short.
It might seem quick, yeah, but it's a guaranteed window. And importantly, if you cancel within those 5 days, you're entitled to get your payments back.
All of it.
Well, they could deduct justifiable documented operating expenses they incurred directly because of your initial agreement, but you don't forfeit the bulk of your deposit.
And how fast do they have to process that refund?
The standard is specific here too. The refund must be processed within 5 to 15 working days after your cancellation request.
So a quick exit route if you catch something critical right after signing, that's powerful.
It gives you that immediate safety valve.
Okay, this leads us perfectly into what might be the most reassuring part for long-term peace of mind. The mandatory warranties. And my favorite bit, the financial penalties if things go wrong. This feels like where the risk really shifts back to the provider.
This is definitely the aha moment for
Right.
many buyers. The NMEM establishes minimum warranty periods that are non-negotiable. They start from the date you take physical possession of the property.
Non-negotiable. So you can't accidentally sign them away in the contract.
Correct. These are irrenunciable. You cannot renounce them. They're mandatory minimums.
Okay, lay them out for us. What are the key warranty periods?
The big one is structure. You get 5 years of warranty protection for structural issues.
5 years, that's substantial.
It is. Then for waterproofing impermeabilization, things like roof leaks, foundation dampness, you get 3 years.
Okay.
And for pretty much everything else, other elements, systems, finishes, the 𝐊𝐵𝐵𝐷𝐿's, the minimum warranty is 1 year.
That structure warranty is clearly the priority. Now, what happens if, say, in year 2, I have a leak and they come fix it under the waterproofing warranty? Does that repair time eat into my remaining warranty?
No, and this is a great detail. Time spent on repairs under warranty doesn't count against your warranty clock.
Oh, interesting.
And even better, any specific part they repair or replace, that part gets its own new independent warranty starting from the date of the repair or replacement.
So they guarantee the fix itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They can't just do a patch job that fails again right after the original warranty expires.
Okay, now for the real teeth. What if they try to fix a defect under warranty, but they fail? The problem keeps coming back. What happens then?
This is where the bonification or compensation comes in. It's a financial penalty for the provider.
All right.
If defects persist after you've exercised the warranty, especially severe or grave defects, the issues affecting the structure, safety, or your ability to actually use the home properly,
Yeah.
the provider is obligated to pay you compensation equal to 20% of the total contract price.
Hold on. 20%. Not of the repair cost, but of the entire price I paid for the house.
20% of the total value stated in the contract, yes.
That's massive. That must be a huge incentive for developers to get repairs right the first time.
It's designed precisely for that, to make ignoring or botching warranty claims incredibly expensive. It forces them to take defects seriously.
What if the defects are persistent but maybe less critical? Say a leaky faucet they just can't seem to fix properly.
For those persistent minor or levy defects, the compensation is smaller, but still significant. It's 5% of the value of the repair itself.
Still a penalty, though.
Still a penalty. And what is a severe defect, like a major structural problem, is simply deemed irreparable.
Yeah, what then?
The choice shifts entirely to the consumer. You have two options. One, demand property substitution. They have to give you a comparable property, covering all associated costs. Or, option two, you can rescind the contract entirely. This means a full refund of everything you've paid, plus any accrued legal interest.
And the developer doesn't get to choose which option?
Nope. The choice is solely yours, the buyer's. It ensures you're made whole however the situation resolves.
That's incredibly strong protection. Okay, let's move to our final section. Other key consumer rights and things developers are explicitly forbidden from doing.
Right. First up is a protection against being strong-armed into buying extra stuff. The standard explicitly prohibits ventas atadas, or tied sales.
Tied sales, what does that mean in practice?
It means a developer cannot make the sale of the house conditional on you also having to buy some other service or product from them or a designated third party. Like they can't force you to buy their specific furniture package or use only their affiliated insurance company.
Ah, I see. So they can offer extras but can't mandate them.
Exactly. If they offer optional services, maybe landscaping or an alarm system, your agreement must be based on your prior express written consent. It has to be a clear opt-in, not bundled automatically.
Makes sense. What about choosing a notary? That's a critical part of the closing process, the escritura. Does the developer dictate who handles that?
Generally, no. The NOM affirms your right to freely choose the public notary, notario publico, for handling the deed transfer.
Freely choose.
Okay?
Are there any exceptions?
The main practical one is if you're getting a mortgage from a specific financial institution. In that case, the bank will usually require the notary to be chosen from their approved list, their padrón de notarios. But outside of that specific mortgage constraint, the choice rests with you.
Good to know. We also see protections extending into data privacy, right? Which can be a real annoyance after a big purchase.
Yes, absolutely. Providers have to handle your personal data according to Mexico's data protection law, the LFPD-PPP.
And what rights does that give me?
Key rights include demanding your information is used for marketing. You can register on the public registry to avoid publicity, the REP.
So less spam calls and emails, hopefully.
That's the idea. And you also have the right to prevent them from selling or transferring your personal data to third parties, unless, a judge orders it for legal reasons.
Okay. And there was one more unique safety aspect mentioned, something about civil protection.
Yes, this is quite interesting and important. The provider must make their internal civil protection program available to you.
What's in that?
It outlines potential risks associated with the property or the development, the geological risks, flood zones, things like that, and details the emergency procedures for the area or complex. It's about being informed about safety beyond just the building structure.
So practical safety information for the homeowner, that's smart.
It is. And underpinning all of this, of course, is the fundamental principle of non-discrimination.
Right. Can't refuse to sell based on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The NOVEN reinforces that providers cannot deny a sale or impose different conditions based on gender, nationality, ethnicity, sexual preference, disability, or any similar factor. Housing should be available equitably.
So if we pull back and look at the whole picture of this NO 24/7, it feels like much more than just a regulation. It really does seem to shift the balance of power.
I think that's a fair assessment. It takes what can be a very opaque, high-risk transaction, especially for foreign buyers perhaps, and imposes a framework of transparency, accountability, and concrete rights.
From the very first advertisement all the way through to those long-term warranties and financial penalties.
Exactly. It mandates truthfulness up front, verifiable specs, pre-vetted contracts, cooling off periods, strong warranties, and real consequences for non-compliance. Knowing these rules exist is, frankly, your best defense.
And you mentioned they have to give you a document summarizing these rights when you buy.
Yes, the Carta de Derechos, the Letter of Rights. It should encapsulate these key protections. You should definitely ask for it and review it.
Make sure it aligns with everything we've discussed today.
Absolutely. Cross-reference it with your contract.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you, our listener, to take away. Now that you know about these powerful protections baked into Mexican law, things like the mandatory refund if the design changes without your written okay, that 5-year structural warranty, or maybe that staggering 20% compensation penalty for serious unfixed defects, which specific right are you going to look for first in the paperwork? Which one gives you the most confidence to ensure your investment is truly secure? Go find that proof.